Hollow Knight took over the gaming world when it came out in 2017. The game currently sits with a 10 out of 10 rating on Steam and is regarded as one of the very best 2D side-scrolling Metroidvanias. It was inspired by games like Metroid, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, and Mega Man X. It was funded partly through Kickstarter and received enough backing that it was set to receive 4 DLCs and a second character. I'll come back to tell you why that's so important. After players had finished Hollow Knight and the various DLCs that came out for it, they still wanted more. So it was natural that when Team Cherry announced Silksong, the gaming community went crazy. But it's been 5 years since the announcement, and there's still no news about the game coming out. Like I said earlier, through the Kickstarter campaign, 4 DLCs and an additional playable character were part of the funding campaign. Team Cherry said that they were committed to making these. Hidden Dreams was the first DLC, released in August 2017. Then The Grim Troop was released in October 2017. Then Lifeblood came out in April 2018. And the final DLC that ended up being released was Godmaster in August 2018. So they fulfilled their promise with the DLCs, but what about the second character? This is where we get into the topic of Silksong. The second playable character was going to be Hornet, a character you meet in Hollow Knight. However, Team Cherry announced in 2019 that they changed their plans. Instead of having this character come to Hollow Knight, they wanted it to be its own game. Silksong. So why is it that 5 years later, it feels like we're still no closer to the game releasing? The last new official media that we got about the game was an Xbox trailer back in June 2022. This was when Xbox themselves announced that the game would be released in the next 12 months. And obviously, the game did not come out. So let's think about why it probably hasn't come out yet. Well, one reason could be that Team Cherry are simply taking on too much work for themselves and have allowed the game to grow to a point where they don't know when to stop. Because of the game being a sequel, obviously it has to be bigger and better, right? Team Cherry is completely independent and does not have a publisher in charge to say that's enough and the game needs to be released. Another reason as to why it might not have been released yet is that the story isn't quite what they wanted. Maybe they announced they had an idea for the entire story and how it would play out, but once the game was in further development, perhaps they weren't happy with the result and had to rework some things. Another possibility is that the game is going to be so amazing that it will blow Hollow Knight out of the water. Team Cherry have already announced that there's going to be over 165 new enemies and over 100 different checkpoints in the game. To put that in perspective, there were only 41 checkpoints in Hollow Knight. Because the game has taken longer than expected to finish, it makes you wonder why the game was announced so early and why there's been multiple delays in the game's development cycle. Will we see Silksong come out this year? I hope so, as it surely will be worth the wait after just how good Hollow Knight was. But until then, why don't you check out this list where I go over some of the best games that you can finish in just one day.